consciousness, the final frontier. These are the voyages into the universe between your ears. Our mission: to explore collective wisdom, seek out amazing secrets, and spread the message of personal potential.
On that note, to add to it, I realized, flash forward, 20 years to just the past couple years for me, that some of the ways I held myself back in business, from writing a book before I did, from stepping on stage before I did, from starting a podcast, from all these things, I realized that in my head, I was more worried about impressing the senior princesses than I was in actually giving value to someone who could benefit. So for me, let's talk about speaking on stage. I used to be so nervous to do it, but then when I analyzed it, I realized the reason I'm nervous is because I'm more worried about, are all the big name speakers that might also be on stage, are they going to think I'm worthy to be there with them? That was what was going through my mind. So I realized I'm still trying to impress senior princesses right now. Not that they're bad and they're trying to exclude anyone. I'm not meaning to paint that onto them.
No.
They have no idea that I'm thinking this. But, I'm focusing on the wrong thing. So I'm thinking about how can my ego, impress these people I deem as more worthy, when really the point of being on stage, the point of writing a book, the point of having a podcast is to help people, like you said, who are a couple steps behind you. And to your point, I can also share from personal experience as a teacher, as I used to teach high school math and psychology and a background in psychology. I know for a fact that I can do a better job of teaching someone who's 3 steps behind me than someone who's 20 steps ahead of me can do in teaching that person. Because now they're 23 steps ahead of that person. They don't remember what it feels like to have learned, to need to know this right now.
Or don't relate anymore.
Yeah, conditions change so fast too in our world that you actually will do a better job in teaching someone that is just a couple steps behind you than someone who you see as far, far ahead of you. So don't discount yourself. Don't discount your knowledge. Don't discount where you are and your ability to help somebody who is right behind you.
Right. And what's coming to me as you're saying that is just stop thinking about it.
I know, just do it.
Nike. We get so yeah, exactly. We get so wrapped up in our heads. And we come up with, it's so much easier to come up with the reasons why not to than it is to come up with the reasons why you should.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know why that is, but most of us apparently are basically wired that way.
Analysis paralysis.
One way or another. Yeah. And, you got to just find a way. It's like stepping off a high dive for the first time.
Right. At some point, you have to just do it.
It's 30 feet down, and you can think about it all you want. You're never going to get the courage up by thinking about it.
Yeah, you can Google all you want.
Forget about it and take a deep breath and step out. And,
true.
Nature will take care of the rest of it. And chances are pretty good you're not going to die from it.
Right. Yeah, I think just reflecting on my own experience, and you have to tell me if you're similar, I feel like a lot of my holding back can be rooted back to not wanting to bruise my ego, not wanting, and I don't mean ego in an arrogance way, but ego in the inner child, am I good enough way? I have held myself back, and we all still do. We're all on a journey. It's not like you're just done. You hit the end goal and you're done. But being afraid of other people maybe laughing, or maybe thinking, why are you doing that? Or maybe thinking, oh, last month you were talking about this and now you're talking about this. What's going on? Whatever it is, we're so worried about how other people are going to think about us that it holds us back. And ultimately, people are going to talk mad junk no matter what happens. So you might as well just do stuff and have fun. That's how I think of it.
You know what, people, the interesting reality about that is that people are going to be jealous of you, even if you fail. Even if you're a huge failure, lots of people are going to be jealous that you had the guts to try it. That is the truth. And you will hear from people who will tell you, I wish I could do that. Yeah, but I fell on my face. And yeah, no, you don't understand. I wish I could fall on my face. I don't have the guts to fall on my face. And, so we're weird. People are just, human beings are weird animals, because we have this capacity to think about crap. And
And I think people who are truly happy and on their path may see someone else doing great things and feel like, wow, that's awesome. I wish I were doing that, but I realize I just maybe don't have time. And so they're not envious in like a negative way, but they're just maybe like impressed in a, wow, that's really cool way. Mm-hmm. So I think that people who are on their path, who are happy and confident and content and doing good things are going to be happy for you. They're going to recognize the value in anything that you try. They're not going to tear you down. The only people who are going to try to tear you down are hurting in some other way. So if you get trolls online, if you get haters, if you get a refund request on a product that you delivered on, you just have to let it go, because those people are hurting in a different way, and not to let that deter you from your action, your path, your moving forward.
Right. No, I agree totally. And in addition to that, expect that the stuff is going to happen.
For sure.
So that it's not a surprise. You need to understand it's going to happen.
Hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Oprah, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, any of them. Name one.
Yeah, nobody.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah, no.
It has haters.
That bitch. But it's going to happen, right? That's the reality. Sure. Because people just want to pull you back down into the bucket,
Well, and the people who do are hurting, and you should have sympathy, empathy, and move on.
Right.
People aren't going to tear you down if they're already climbing their own hill.
Right. So the other thing I wanted to add on to that, and you almost said it, was this idea of seeing somebody else who is achieving, who is accomplishing things that maybe you would like to do. If you're sort of early on in this personal growth path, right, as an intentional, as a conscious thing, because for some of us, we don't wake up until we're 45. Right. So, and then you go, there's more to life. But you can start, let's say that's the scenario. It's easy to then say, well, it's too late. Look how far ahead everybody else is, but we know that's not the reality.
Right.
But so if I'm addressing somebody who is kind of maybe feeling that way, is kind of feeling like they're at the beginning of all this stuff and there's so much to learn, and number one, don't worry about it. It will come to you when it's supposed to come to you. But one of the guideposts is that if you see somebody else achieving things, no matter what it is, and you feel happy for them, understand, and that's you. You recognize that means you're on the right path. You're becoming a better, bigger version of yourself because you're not jealous that they're doing something.
For sure.
You're.
There's enough to.
Because it makes you want to go and help them. Really.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be part of that.
Yeah.
Not. Oh, that's I'll do my own thing instead. It's like, it's exciting.
For sure.
When you start feeling that kind of reaction from seeing somebody else succeed at anything, it's, understand that that's a signpost for you saying you're on the right track.
And that is the best way to grow too, is to surround yourself by other people who are happily climbing their mountains without trying to tear anyone else down. Be around that more, and it's going to rub off on you in all the good ways. Yeah, that's something that we really haven't talked about in any kind of detail on this show yet, is like who are the 5 people you spend your most time with? That whole so much.
That paradigm, and for anybody who's not familiar with this, it's really trotted out about financial well-being in that area than anything else, but it applies to everything. But it's you are going to be sort of the average of the 5 or so people who you spend the most of your time with.
Yeah.
because they are going to influence how you think.
So much.
And so if you want to be in a different, let's just use finance, you want to be in a different financial position than you're in now, the best thing you can do is find a way to hang out with people who are in a better financial position than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We can apply that to anything. Like if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling run down, look at who you're talking with. Not to say that they're bad people, but they are most likely, and you for them, are helping continue the spiral down. So when a situation comes up and you say, oh man, that sucks, maybe your friends are saying, man, that does suck. Man, that's never going to get better. Wah, wah, wah. You need to hang out with people who are going to be like, well, what's the positive out of that? How can we turn that into something else? You want people who are going to spiral you up out of that.
Right. Because, even if you're not going downward, just staying on a level where you're at,
right,
at some point, at some level, is going to feel frustrating for you. And sometimes if you're not looking at these things sort of with the intention of finding, where can I grow? How can I do more? How can I be more creative? Whatever. If you're just really trying to maintain status quo in your life, this general uneasiness creeps in.
Right.
Because more and more I'm convinced of this. It isn't possible for us to just be static. Right. Psychologically, emotionally, whatever we can't be static. We have to be moving, because we're all just, we'll get woo-woo, and we're all just energy.
For sure.
We're just experiencing this as a physical thing. It's really just doesn't exist. But energy doesn't sit still. Energy has to move. And so if you're trying to hold it still, you're going to get, something's going to happen in your life, or you're just going to feel generally annoyed with life. I don't know why. Maybe it's my hormones. I don't know why.
Right.
Whatever it is, it's because, or at least look at your life and see if it's not because you're just trying to maintain your status.
Yeah.
Really, we all need to be trying to improve at least one area of our lives with intention. And the great thing is, if you do something in one area of your life, you get better there. The only way to do it is to learn something new. And so you have the rising tides metaphor that lifts all ships. So you apply something in one area of your life, and a light bulb comes on and things get better.
Right.
You will automatically just apply aspects of that to other areas of your life, and things will get better there too.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's, yeah.
And on the topic of you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, I like to think about it too around not just physical time, but even like you are the average of the 5 people you ask advice for on a topic. So like, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you've got a business idea and you share it with 5 members of your family and friends. And 4 of those people have full-time jobs and they never would ever consider being an entrepreneur. I would argue that you shouldn't discount their advice. It might be the most well-intentioned, but they aren't in the position that you want to be in that scenario. They might be amazing for positivity and mindfulness, so that they might be the perfect people you want to bounce stuff off when it's a different topic. But if it's something around business, you want to get advice from people who are at or above your level in that thinking or in that scenario. Right. So, and even with just like clients, like some people will say, oh, I have I want advice on XYZ for my business. It might not be even a good idea to ask your business friends because they aren't your ideal clients. So you need to go ask who would be your ideal clients and get the feedback and take that information into more account. So I think that can be applied, that sort of philosophy can be applied in different ways on just different topics that you're trying to approach.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even have to be that you're actually talking to them.
Right.
You could just be reading books.
True.
Right.
Listening
to yeah. So if you're reading books from people who are, they're writing books for kids, let's say, about becoming an entrepreneur, and you've been in business for 15 years, the chances of getting something out of those books that's truly going to move you forward kind of small, right? They're just not writing to that audience.
Right.
And generally we write what we know, so they're probably not in the position you want to be at either. But there's another thing that came out of a discussion I had with another podcaster, Chris Burns. I don't know if you know Chris. We got onto the same subject of the 5 people. And, we were talking about in the financial area, and it dawned on me in the conversation that, if you want to hang out with millionaires, let's say that's who you want to be, and you don't know any, and, you're just not doing that now. And so you hear this, okay, well, you need to hang out with the people who are doing what you want to do. You need to understand that they aren't looking for you to hang out with them, right? So if you approach them, you need to be already the person who's bringing something to the table that they are going to value. You need to be the kind of person that they want to hang out with as well. Because otherwise, you get somebody who makes, let's say, makes $500,000 a year, whatever he's doing, doesn't matter. And if he suddenly changes his life around and he starts hanging out with people who are $30,000 a year, 9-to-5, workers, he's going to start losing money eventually, because his mindset's going to change, because he's got more input from this level than he does from this level. And his mindset's going to change. And these people will come up a little, but they're going to have more influence. So we need to work on ourselves to elevate ourselves somewhat in the first place, to move up that ladder a little bit, you want to be, and it's like in relationships, you want to get the girl, well, you got to be the kind of guy that she wants to be with.
Right. For sure. Yeah. And on the one thing that came to my mind that I'd love to share on the money side of things is, definitely money is an indicator of success in business, but it's not the only indicator of success in business or in life. So I think that maybe it's we Americans or we people in general focus so much on the money as like, I am a success if I make X amount, or I am not a success until I make X amount. And I think too, in your scenario, if you want to hang around with millionaires, you're not there yet. I don't believe you necessarily have to become a millionaire first before they'll even acknowledge you.
And that's not what I was saying.
Yeah. And so, I was thinking add an extra layer to it. But maybe where you can bring value to the table is maybe you're incredibly physically fit and healthy and you like cook amazing recipes. And that's something that they're feeling like they're lacking. So you guys can connect on that. They see the value you're bringing to the table when it comes to health and fitness. And then you can also have money discussions and they'll rub off on you in a positive way and you rub off on them in another way. So kind of look at different ways where you really are strong, that you can bring value to relationships with people that you want to be more like in a different area. Yeah,
we all have many interests.
Right.
There's nobody who's only interested in making money, right? There's nobody who's only interested in bodybuilding.
Right.
It may seem like it, but they're also those guys are also interested in nutrition. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, better nutrition, is important. And so, it's whatever the subject. You may be an expert at, drifting your car, right? Racing around sideways on a track. Well, these guys would love to be able to do that. And they don't know how, and they meet somebody who's an expert at, come on, I'm paying. Let's go do it.
For sure.
Suddenly you got a new friend. You never know. And everybody, it's just, you got to step up your own game in order to make yourself appealing to other people who have already done it. Have already stepped up their game.
Right.
Otherwise you just don't go anywhere.
Very true.
But we're just solving all the world's problems right now.
I know. This is the only podcast you need.
What magic word podcast? Tell us about yours. I know I got to listen to a little bit. I was halfway through the Lego
nice.
analogy, which I thought was interesting too. But so you've got a lot more episodes out than we have.
Yeah, let's see.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing it for over 2 years now. So to put us in space and time, we're in June of 2018, and I started mine April 2016. So I think I have 132 episodes out now. And it's called Copy That Pops. So it's all about writing that stands out. So copy is like writing, and pops is the psychology side of things. So how can we write, especially for business online, in a way that helps us stand out, connects with our audience, pulls them in, converts them into all the things that we want them to do. So historically over my show, I've covered topics spanning email marketing to Facebook ad copy to landing pages and everything in between. But now that I'm focused so much on books and helping entrepreneurs also become author experts and leverage books to grow their brand and business, my shows more and more increasingly are focusing on books. So helping people write their outline, like the little Lego method that you referred to, is just like, how can we think about writing like we thought about playing Legos as a kid? So in that episode, it's a short, just solo episode, just 10 minutes. And I have interviews too with other guests in different episodes, but that one is just me. And I'm talking about when we were a kid and we put things together as a Lego, maybe we build like a ship. Once we were done, we didn't just leave it as a ship for our entire lives. We'd break it down and then turn it into a spaceship, or then break it down and turn it into a house. So my analogy was, with our own content, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you have a blog, maybe you have a series of Facebook Live videos that you've done. There's so much content that you already likely have. How can we think of those like Lego pieces, break them down and repurpose them and restructure them and reuse them in a book or, in some other kind of content? So, if anyone is interested in learning about writing, self-publishing, and launching a book that hits bestseller in their categories on Amazon, and then use that book to leverage for more, then my show Copy That Pops is a great place to start for sure.
Cool. Well, as long as we're sort of getting into what you do, I do want to come back to this Lego concept in a minute, but let's go ahead and stay on this for just a second and give everybody your contact information.
Sure.
Find you and,
Yeah, so the best headquarters is to go to copythatpops.com. That's my website. And from there, you can find link outs to tons of stuff. So I've got a blog with epically long blog posts that are really valuable, as I'm ultimately a teacher. I'm not a salesperson. So I do have products and services. Obviously, you have to sell something to be in business. But I have a lot of really great, valuable blogs and podcast episodes that if someone is like very DIY early stage, if they want to just learn stuff for free, then there's tons of stuff on there that you can find. I also have some good freebies that you can download. Like for one is 5 things you must do in order to hit Amazon bestseller. So it's a little PDF that people can find right there on my website to download for free. I've also got a free Facebook group that's all around for people who want to actually write a book and launch it. So if you go to copythatpops.com/Facebook, it will redirect you over to the group on Facebook. That's a shorter URL than actually trying to name it. So yeah, copythatpops.com and then /Facebook if you wanted to find the Facebook group.
I think I'm in that group, am I not?
Yeah, you've got to be.
Author posse.
The posse. Yeah, I call it the best-selling author posse. And then on social media, you can find me at Laptop Laura all over the place. So Laptop Laura, because I love traveling and I always have my laptop in tow.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll include that all in the show notes.
Nice. Yeah.
And so before we're starting to run on time, but I wanted to, because the Lego idea, that concept of taking something that you've already built in some format, and then sort of taking, whether you dismantle it completely or not, but taking pieces of it and repurposing them to create something new.
Yeah.
And I have to apologize to anybody who's waiting on the edge of their seat for what I'm going to say next, because I didn't come up with specifically, because it's really easy in a business sense or in a writing sense. It's easy to come up with examples. I'm trying to think of
Ooh,
our own
awesome.
lives. You know,
Yeah.
how to take certain aspects of what we know in this area, maybe, and maybe just put a different spin on it so that you can apply it to a different area.
Well, I don't have kids yet, but I'm thinking like if in your job, whether that's a regular 9 to 5 or if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, there are probably systems and processes or calendars and checklists and things that you use all the time that you could then repurpose and make them look a little more fun and use them with kids or even use them with a spouse to like keep the chores more organized, the shopping list more organized or something. There's probably things from your work life that you could apply to your personal life. I would just recommend making it fun and make it not feel like a work.
When as you brought up, as soon as you said kids, I was like, there's stuff, because they're not going to learn how to survive in the real world from school.
No.
So it's up to the parents to teach them the real life skills.
Right.
And where do you get real life skills? One of the greatest places is, where do you go and spend your life? At work. So that's a great idea. I think there's things that you had to learn to be a better employee of whatever it is you're doing, or even if you're an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, whatever it is, there are aspects of what you do for a living that you could turn around and teach your kids that would be beneficial for them.
Yeah, like public speaking and networking, finances, keeping track of things. There's so many great things that I think that kids might really resist at first, but I mean, maybe that's a projection. I think I would have resisted that as a kid, but looking back, I wish that my parents had put me into like a Toastmasters kind of thing, or like speech and debate, something that would give you skills that are going to apply to everything else and help you in business and life.
Public speaking is, oh my God, so good. It's such a valuable skill. But I could see that, the key with kids is just, you got to make it fun for them, right? Whether it's fun for you or not is another question, but if it's fun for them, they'll do it. And don't tell them it's learning, but
I think for kids and for adults too, I think that we have to paint the expectation of, you're going to suck for a while, and that's okay. Because I know for me, I got a lot of self-validation as a kid and even still today of being good at things. Like, I was smart, I was good at school, and I purposely stopped doing things I wasn't good at and doubled down on things I was good at. And I think in some scenarios that's a great pursuit. But in other ways, I think I avoided public speaking. I avoided things that were outside of my comfort zone because I knew I wasn't going to just be instantly the star student right away. And so we, as adults, especially if we talk about public speaking, look at other people who are polished speakers and think, wow, they're just naturally gifted. I suck. I'll never be that. But you don't see them going through kindergarten, first grade, second grade of the public speaking steps. So I think we as adults need to remember that, and then also convey that to our kids. It's okay that you're not good for a while. Like, you have to go through the bumpy learning curve in order to get to that mastery.
And you may never get to that mastery.
For sure.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things are just more about having the willingness to do it.
Yeah.
Because most people aren't going to show up to do it. You're so far ahead of the next guy, the next 50 guys, because you say, let's just, as use public speaking, I'm a crappy speaker. I and I all over the place, and I forget what I'm doing, and I need cards to remember where I'm at. But these guys aren't going to say yes, they'll do it. You're going to get points just for being willing to show up.
For sure.
I think Woody Allen once said that 90% of success is just showing up, something like that.
I think that's so true. Like, even to networking events, there are times when I'm like, I'm tired and I don't feel like going, and I get my butt in the car and I drive, and I'm so glad I did, because you meet someone and it leads to this other connection. It leads to these other opportunities. That's like all solutions. I don't know who said this, but I've heard a quote, like, all problems have a solution through other people. Like, other people are the solution to any problem that you're having. And we can think of that, like if you have cancer, the solution is other people. So maybe like doctors or naturopaths who know information about certain plants that are the ones that you need, whatever. Every problem, there's a solution that can be found with other people. So it's just all about connecting and reaching out and building those relationships.
There's no, I think Einstein gets credit. Einstein gets credit for saying everything. So I'm always skeptical about whether or not he actually said it. But I see him giving credit for saying that you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it.
Right.
Which is, it's a, well, duh kind of statement, but it's revolutionary too, or it's enlightening, because it's really, really true. If you have a problem and you're banging your head against the wall trying to figure it out, guess what? It's not going to change. You can keep banging your head. You need to go to somebody else. You need to get a different perspective. And it may just be somebody telling you, well, you've just driven your car up against that wall in the middle of the road. Why don't you just back up and go around it?
Right.
It can be that simple, but you don't get fresh perspectives all on your own.
Right.
Right.
And we humans are social creatures.
Yeah. You get them from having conversations and digging into stuff, or you get it from reading a book or listening to somebody talking about something, we need other people for virtually everything.
For sure. More than we recognize.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want to run past your time. I'm a little hesitant to kind of jump into another topic. That, and I don't have anything that's like jumping out of my head going, no, we got to talk about this. Should we stop here for right now?
Sure.
And then maybe think about bringing you back at some point?
Sure. We could always do a round two.
Yeah. We could have some fun.
Yeah.
Come up with something.
I know. I'll have to
We'll get Gabi involved. He's the master of questions. And whenever I'm finding myself just like, all right, well, we kind of run out of, fuel on this thing. He suddenly comes out of this alleyway over here and goes, what about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to think of more examples of cultural differences, because those are so fun.
They really are. In Peru, the thing that popped into my head when you were talking about it was the first time I was in Peru was late November through, I was there for 2 months. Oh, wow. So late November to the end of January.
Where were you, in Cusco or Lima?
Lima, and I went to Cusco. I went to Machu Picchu. That was interesting because I did that all on my own.
Yeah.
But in all right, so two quick stories. The cultural thing in Lima at Christmas time, they have what we call Santa Claus. Their terminology is Papa Noel, and I remember very vividly, 26 years ago, seeing this guy downtown Lima walking around in a Santa suit, but he was blue.
Wow.
Head to foot. Santa's suit was a blue suit. He was painted blue. And it seemed to be the norm for them. I never got into much of a discussion with anybody on it, but I was like, what did I just see? So that just was a cultural oddity that hit me.
That's funny.
But one of the other fun experiences, so I'm with two girls. The one now is my wife. We're downtown Lima. They're just kind of showing me sightseeing stuff. And it's my first day there. And we go to we're across the street from the congressional building where the government meets. And there's people all over the place. Lima at that time had already 8 million people. And so it's crowded. And I'm just like looking at everything, and the one girl grabs me by the arm. Come on. And we run down the street. What's going on? Come on. And we duck into a doorway, and it's a restaurant, I think. And what's going on? Something's happening. I saw nothing, but something was happening, and there was some sort of protest. And so we hung out there for a few seconds, really, and So they poke their head out. Okay. So we continued down the street. So now we're a block away. We get to the corner. We flag a taxi. We jump in. And it's just a little Volkswagen. At that time, Volkswagens were everywhere. And so we have made a right now. So we go down to the next block over, and he turns right. And we go one more block. Now we're one block down from where we were.
Right. And
as we're approaching the intersection, a tear gas canister comes rolling through.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and so there was no stopping. There was no roll up the windows and, you know, and we went through, and the one girl in particular was like, oh my God, please don't think bad of my country. You know, and it hadn't affected us inside the car. And so there was no coughing, no nothing. And so we get to the other side, and I was just like, that was fun. Let's go back.
That was cool.
Let's do it again.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've never experienced that here.
What year was that then?
what's 26 years from now? 82? No, 92?
No, 92.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was during the time they had the Shining Path was still up and running, the terrorist organization, and they would plant bombs. Mostly it was just overnight and in storefronts or the front of a bank or something. And so a bomb would go off and all the electricity would go out. And, you know, you would find out the next day that they'd blown up the front of a store or something. But they weren't really they were just causing property damage. They weren't really hurting anybody physically in the cities. Up in the mountains, they were terrorizing people. And then, yeah, it wasn't long after my visit there. I don't remember. It could have been a year or two after, but it wasn't that long after I was there that they took like 300 people hostage at I think it was the Spanish embassy at a Christmas party.
Wow.
And the mother of the president was there, Fujimori, but they didn't know who she was. And so they kept asking everybody, who, you know, we know she's here. Who is she? Who is she? And nobody would point her out. And they eventually let all these women go, and she was one of them.
Even though they were looking for a mom.
Yeah, they were looking for the president's mother. And so they weren't that, you know, their intelligence wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But then, so they had this strike force thing, and they just killed everybody that was in all the terrorists died. They just killed them all.
Wow.
And yeah, so there's a few stories, but
it started to sound like the plot of Die Hard.
Yeah, probably not far off.
When you said it was a Christmas party and they asked who it was, and they because then I don't know. I love that movie. So they at first ask who's the boss, and no one will point him out, and then he finally steps forward or whatever. But
yeah, it was interesting. Nice. You know, we're not going to go into it anymore. We don't have time. It's for another discussion.
Yes.
But
I'll make a list of more things that I think of that are cultural differences, because I lived with a host family in Costa Rica. I have a story about a giant spider in their kitchen that was practically essentially their pet. I lived with host families in Mexico, so I can think of some more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a fun show. Maybe we get some people, 2 or 3 people to be guests at the same time, and then we can just all swap stories.
Yeah,
Gabi's from, you know, he grew up in the Soviet Union.
Oh, cool.
So he's got a lot of that stuff to relate, and yeah, so everybody's got stories.
Yeah, I love those kind of stories. It's fun.
All right, let's call it. I'm going to let you go, and thank you again. Really had a good time.
Good.
And I think we got some good stuff out that people can actually use.
Yeah, for sure.
And, we'll get more the next time.
Cool. So. And I will see you next Friday, hopefully.
Yes, in the park.
In the park.
Yeah, Bank of America.
I know. I hate
me up. I just wanted to strangle somebody.
Yeah.
But we're not going there either today.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, this is Tim Starr. Thanks for joining me and Gabi on the universe between your ears. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for a little while. And we'd like to see you again. So be sure to subscribe wherever it is you're consuming the podcast from, whether it's YouTube or Stitcher or iTunes or whatever the hell else is out there. We want to see you again. We also want to hear from you. So let us know what you think of each episode. Let us know if you've got an idea for a future episode that you think would be just killer. Absolutely, let us know. All right? Thanks again, and we will see you next time around. Bye-bye.